Hello, Spirit Family. Thank you so much for joining me at Aquarian Node. So I've done this before and I'm going to do it again. I know it's a little different, but I will often get channeled messages in my dreams. And a lot of the times it's foreshadowing something. And so let me just tell you what I saw. Not last night, it was the night before. And I was going to do a video about it yesterday, but for some reason I wasn't supposed to. And now that I think about it, I think it's because I needed to share it with my friend Tina before I said anything, because she was asking a lot of questions that I never would have thought of or paid attention to. So I do have notes on the table because I did write down the answers to some of those questions, and hopefully it will bring some clarity to whomever this message is for. Okay, so in the dream, there was a woman that lives alone. She is about mid-20s to mid-30s. She's short. I'm not sure what her race is, race or ethnicity. I'm not really sure. But in the dream, I felt as though she had just returned from a vacation and she's in a rush. She goes to her car, turns it on. I want to say she leaves the door open and then she goes back inside of her home. I want to say she also has a pet. She might have pets. I'm not really sure. It could have just, but that's what I felt, but I didn't see it. I did not see any pets in the dream, but I felt like she had pets. And anyway, she's inside. She comes back outside and notices that her car is missing. And initially she panics, but then she looks around in shock and she runs down her driveway and she looks and she sees her car, and there's a young gentleman kind of hanging out the window a little bit, and she proceeds to chase the car a little bit, but then she changes direction because she knows who they are. It seems as though she does know who they are and where they live. So she changes direction and she runs across another driveway, the driveway of the house across the street from her. And it couldn't have been, maybe it was a block over, maybe two. But I know that the home, if her home is here, then the house of the guys is here. See what I mean? And so her driveway, their driveway. She cuts across. So there's might have been homes here and here. She cuts across and ends up in their driveway. And what's so interesting is they're pulling in, and they see her in their driveway, and they still pull in. And then she immediately starts going after them. And the analogy that came to me is like a honey badger. I saw this video about a honey badger, and that symbolism is very at the forefront of my mind. And I think this is why, because that is the persona she has. She's very small. I know she's at least short. She could be a little stocky or chubby or thin. I'm not really sure, but she was very strong-willed. And she approaches the two guys in the car, and she's screaming at them, she's fussing at them, and ultimately what she's telling them is, just give me back my keys so I can take my car. I don't have time to call the police or any of that, go through the legal process. Just give me back my keys and this will be over. And at first they're trying not to give her keys back, but eventually she does kind of frighten them, and they're about to give her keys back. But then two more gentlemen appear in another car, and they get out of the car and they start approaching her, and then the two younger men start closing in on her as well. And I get the feeling that she froze. You know how they say fight or flight? She was definitely she didn't even flight, she froze. I think that's how it goes now, fight, flight, or freeze. And she froze, and they ended up pushing her into the garage, and that's when my dream cut off. And I think that's because my subconscious will not allow me to view certain things that already unsettle me. I don't watch certain videos and shows because of the implications in them and the aggressiveness towards women. I just don't tolerate that kind of thing. And so I think that's why the dream cut off when it did. However, I did feel the anguish from her. I remember her feeling like, oh man, I shouldn't have did this. Meaning she shouldn't have chased the two younger gentlemen. And once they get her in the garage, I do feel like they did very unsavory acts, including unaliving her. So that was the dream. The car in the dream was either dark blue, gray, or black. It was a 4-door sedan, gas powered. And the area she's in, there's like no grass. So I don't know if that means that it's in the winter or like late summer. But there was no grass in her yard or the neighbor's yard. And what was there was very brown. Yeah, let's see. I think that's, yeah, she lived alone. You might travel for work. I think possibly because she had just come from somewhere and she was getting ready to go somewhere else. So I kind of got the vibe that she was, yeah, maybe she's been on vacation recently, has returned, been home for a little while, but then needs to travel for work. Something to that effect. Yes, your car was already running. Yeah, it was this occurred in daybreak. It was like, it was still a little dark outside, not really. And the area where you live, there might be a lot of older neighbors. I got that too. All right, so that is the message I wanted to convey, and I'm just gonna do a timing card to see when this might happen. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope that the person that needs to watch this video sees it in time to make sure that they are careful with how they move. She had a very honey badger mentality. All right, so you got 2. So this could happen within 2 weeks, 2 months. Create a structure. It does say Taurus season, which is April to May. It could also be like 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Probably closer to 2 a.m. then, because it was like daybreak. So, I mean, the sun doesn't rise that early, but I guess it depends on where you are. But what else draws my eye to this card is the colors. I feel like the element to this card is very, you see the dark green? That's kind of like the grass in that area. And then this color is giving me like the sun rising. So yeah, I want to say 2 weeks, 2 months. You have create a structure. Yeah, and I think that structure is something like a process of doing things. Don't obviously, I mean, I'm not going to say obviously, I'm not judging, but you definitely want to be careful. When you live alone, when you're a woman, unfortunately, with the way that things are, you have to be very mindful and alert at all times. You never want to do anything like start your car and then go back inside of your home. You never want to confront males by yourself. Always call the police. That is an option. I know that it can be inconvenient sometimes, but I would rather you be inconvenienced than end up in a worse situation. So yes, that is the message that I channeled, and I hope that it reaches whomever needs to hear it. I love you all so much. Thank you for your consistent support. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Bye-bye.